There is a poetry recitation event in Brea at the Curtis Theatre. This program is targeted for the youth. If anyone is interested, they can look at one of the flyers or visit the website at islampoetryslam.eventbrite.com. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Please join me in inviting Dr. Akbar Mithani to the minbar with the loudest of your salawats upon Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
سورة المباركة الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، شفيع المذنبين وخاتم النبيين، نبينا وشفينا وحبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد. وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المنتجبين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا محجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. أما بعد، فقد قال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المجيد وفرقانه الحميد: وهو أصدق الصادقين وقوله الحق. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. حتى إذا جاء أحدهم الموت قال رب ارجعون لعلي أعمل صالحا فيما تركت كلا إنها كلمة هو قائلها ومن ورائهم برزخ إلى يوم يبعثون. آمنا بالله وصدق الله العلي العظيم. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. Elders of the community, my brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. أعظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمسابنا بأبي عبد الله الحسين عليه الصلاة والسلام. You know, in Islam, we believe that the human being consists of two components. It consists of the body and the soul. And upon death, the belief is that there is a consciousness and an awareness that survives. And that consciousness and awareness is called the ruh, or the soul. Yeah? The human spirit. These are some of the words that have been used. Now, we believe that this ruh, upon death, moves to a different realm of existence. It moves to a different dimension of existence, a different plane of existence, which we call barzakh. Yeah? Now, if you look at this word barzakh, literally, barzakh means a barrier. That's what barzakh means. It means a barrier. The barrier, in the context of this ayah that I have recited to you of Surah Al-Mu'minun, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the ayah says that, when the death overcomes them, yes, when death overcomes them, they say, send me back, send me back. Yes, this is Surah Al-Mu'minun. Yeah. Why send me back? So that I may be able to carry out righteous deeds, the deeds that I neglected in my life. So they say, send me back. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, by no means, it is but only a word, he says. Before them is a partition, is a barrier, is a barzakh until the day of Qiyamah when they will be raised up. So in the context of this ayah of Surah Al-Mu'minun, this barrier of barzakh prevents the human soul from coming back to this world, and it prevents this human soul from moving to the next world, which is the hereafter. So this is what is called an intermediary realm. Yes, a realm that is in between, the barrier that prevents you from moving to this world or going forward to the hereafter. This is what barzakh means. So we believe that when a person dies, their body perishes, but this ruh goes into this realm or this dimension of barzakh, this intermediary realm, where it is exposed to experiences. And these experiences are either rewards or punishments. मैं आपके लिए बहुत आसान बना रहा हूँ because I know there are different people who listen to it. I know this may be something that you are used to already, but stay with me, we'll get deeper into it. But I want to build you up to understand what this barzakh is. Yes. So this barzakh, is this realm where this ruh now experiences certain things. It experiences rewards or it experiences punishments. Yes. This realm of barzakh is vast. It's very big, right? And it is non-material. There is no material, there is non-madda, right? It is non-material realm, right? It is a completely non-material realm, right? And within these realms, there are actually stations. There are levels even within this realm. And we are not going to get into that because it becomes too complicated for us. We want to just have a feel for what this barzakh is, right? And these destinations or realms or levels of the souls that reside in this level of barzakh, they reside in such a way that it is a continuum for them. Yeah. It's not that they reside in one level or another level. These are not separate silos. There is a continuum. Yes. On the one end, the souls that are totally righteous, the souls that are totally righteous and good, these souls enjoy a pleasant destination where they experience glimpses of Jannah. Yeah, they experience glimpses of paradise where they are enveloped and encompassed in the divine mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, and his rewards. And the souls that are totally wicked, they are ones that experience glimpses of hell in the realm of barzakh. Yes, glimpses of punishment and chastisement. So on the one end, the righteous souls are experiencing glimpses of heaven. On the other end, the really wretched souls are experiencing glimpses of punishment and chastisement. So it's a continuum, yes? And where we are, who knows, yes? How do we know where we are going to be? That's what we're going to talk about, yeah? Allama Majlisi, in his Bahasin, he quotes Imam Muhammad al-Baqir and Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. Recite another salawat ala Muhammad. And he quotes these two imams, and both these imams, they say that when a believer dies, there are 6 figures that enter the grave of a believer. 6 figures. Yeah. One of these 6 figures, of the 6 figures, one of them is a figure that is more illuminated, it is more pure, and it is more enlightened. It is full of nur. One of them. But there are 6 figures that enter the grave of a believer. Yeah. One stands on the right side, the other one stands on the left side, the third one stands in front, the other one stands in the back, and the 5th one stands at the feet. Yeah. And the figure that is the most illuminated and pure and fragrant, khushbu, right? You know, with khushbu, right? The most fragrant, illuminated figure that exudes nur, yes? That is a figure that stays on the head and covers the entire body. Yeah. 6 figures, yeah? Right, left, front, back, feet, covering the whole body, yeah? Now, what happens is that from whichever side the wrath of Allah comes, because of the deeds of this believer, these 6 figures, they repel the wrath. They protect this person from the wrath of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. See, I don't want you to think that death is bad. It's good, yeah? I don't want to scare you about death. It's actually very positive if you are a believer, yeah? So these 6 figures are there. Whichever way the wrath of Allah comes because of the deeds of this person, it's repelled. It's repelled by these 6 figures. And so this figure, which is the most illuminated, that is over or covering this believer, he says to the figures, who are you? Yeah? Who are you? So he says to the figure, you know, on the right, you know, he says, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you, but who are you? So the figure on the right says, I am the prayers and the salat that this person performed in his day. And so I am repelling the wrath of Allah from the right side. And then he asks the figure that's on the left side, he says, who are you? And he says that I'm the charity that this person gave when he was alive. And so I am repelling things from the left side. Then the figure in front, he says to the figure in front, who are you? And he says that I am the fasts, right? I am the sawm, I'm the fasts that this person did when in the holy month of Ramadan when he was in this world. So I am repelling the wrath of Allah from the front. And then he looks at the figure that's near the head and he says, who are you? And he says, I am the Hajj and the Umrah that he performed, his wajibat during the time that he was alive. And then the figure that is near the legs, the figure that is the most illuminated says to him, who are you? The figure on, you know, that's towards the feet of this person. And he says that I am the kindness that this person performed for his fellow brother and his fellow human being. I am the kindness that he performed, and I am protecting from that side. Now these 5 figures are looking at this figure who is the most illuminated, the most fragrant, the most magnanimous of figures, yeah? And their face now turns towards him and they ask him, tell us, who are you? Who are you that is covering this person, that even if we were to miss something, Your protection for the overall body is such that it would not get any of the wrath of Allah, would not get close to him. And this most illuminated figure says that I am the love of the Ahlul Bayt and the wilaya of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, that this person had in his heart. The love of the Ahlul Bayt and the wilaya of Ali ibn Abi Talib. Yeah? He says, that's who I am, that most illuminated figure. Yeah? You know, the coming of the Panjatan, and especially the coming of Amirul Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, in the grave is considered to be a pretty unanimous belief amongst the followers of the Ahlul Bayt. There are so many hadiths about this, right? So many of them. Sheikh Mufid, for example, has reported extensively on this. There's a hadith of the sixth Holy Imam, Imam Jafaria Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And he narrates, it's narrated through Sadir al-Sayrafi, one of his companions, Sadir al-Sayrafi. He asks the Imam, he says that when the soul of the believer, the soul of the mu'min, when it is taken away, will he be fearful? Will he be scared? Imam replies, by Allah, no. He will not be fearful. He says, when Malakul Maut comes, he will initially be afraid. He will initially be afraid. But then Malakul Maut will say to this believer, this is for believers, it's for believers, okay? Malakul Maut will say to the believer, don't be afraid, for I swear by Muhammad and Ali Muhammad that I am more kinder to you than your own merciful father. Yeah, I'm more kinder to you. Then this person will open his eyes, and he says that Malakul Maut will say to him that open your eyes and see what is around you. And when he opens his eyes, he will see the Panchatan. He will see the 5 grand figures of the Ahlul Bayt. Malakul Maut will point out the Panchatan to him, that these are the people that you followed in your life. And he will open his eyes and he will see these great personalities. And as he sees these great personalities, a tranquility will overwhelm his heart. And he will hear the voice of Allah say, Ya ayyatuhan nafsul mutma'innah. Oh, the tranquil soul, irji ila rabbiki raziyatan mardiyah. Enter into my Jannah, enter into my heaven, for you have succeeded. So many narrations, especially related to the coming of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam. You know, and the narrations are so clear. The narration says that once this believer who has just passed away, when he sees the Imam, when he sees Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, the individual will be asked, he will be asked, do you want to go back? Do you want to go back to the world? But when he sees Amirul Mu'mineen, this individual will have so much comfort and tranquility in Amirul Mu'mineen that he will say to the angels that why would I even want to go back? If I had known this, I would have prayed to God that he would have had given me death earlier. Yeah? Now let's look at some of these narrations, right, around the souls and how these souls actually connect to this realm of the dunya. You see, this realm of barzakh is alive. It's not dead, it's alive. And the experiences are so much greater because it is a non-material realm. They are greater than the experiences that we have in this world. Because in this world, you are boxed in a body, aren't you? You are not able to taste the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the way that you need to taste the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The sixth Imam again, he said that the faithful believers are able to visit their family and friends in this realm, in this dunya. after they have passed away. Yeah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allows them to see what He loves to see in His relatives. See, Allah is so merciful that He only lets the soul of the believer experience the good thing about his family and his friends. So if the family and friends are doing something bad, Allah does not allow him to see those experiences. Allah is so merciful that He only shows them the goodness in them, yes? And then He hides that, those things that would displease this believer or cause him pain about his relatives. And it is said, and the reason I chose this subject on this night, because it is a Thursday night, yeah? Don't worry, my 4 lectures are not on Barzakh. They are going to be different topics every night, inshallah. Yeah? May Allah give me life that I'm able to give you the topics, inshallah wa ta'ala. But on, what happens that on Thursday night and the day of Friday is when the souls are allowed to go and visit the believers and their relatives and their believers. Amirul Mu'minin Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wasalam, it says it depends on the level of iman and taqwa of the believer. Because for some believers, they are only allowed to visit once a year. For some believers, they may only be allowed to visit once a month. For some believers, they may be allowed to visit once a week on a Thursday night. But for some believers, they may be allowed to visit every day. That's what the souls are. Yeah. Right? And there are narrations that the physical grave also has a connection with the Alamul Barzakh. It also has a connection with the realm of Barzakh. How so? Yeah. When people visit the grave, the ruh, the soul of that individual comes near the physical grave and is aware of who is visiting. Is aware of who is visiting. Yeah. And narrations say that when you sit by the grave of your loved one, the souls enjoy your company. I have to tell you, it's important, therefore, that we don't just recite Surah Fatiha from far away. That whenever you get the chance, go to the Qabristan. Yeah. And if you have a loved one who is buried in the Qabristan, then sit by the grave of that loved one, because they come and visit and they enjoy your company. We don't experience it because we are boxed in this materialistic world, right? We are boxed in this jism, in this material body that does not allow us to experience that. Yeah. My teacher, he always said to me, he used to say to me that if you ever have difficulties and you have adversities and you have calamities in your life, and he said that if you have your parents or any of your parents who has been buried in the Qabristan, he says to me that go and visit them, sit by the grave and give their wasila and do dua to Allah. And you will see how Allah will accept your dua. Yeah? This is the beauty of the physical grave. Now we move on to the next level. So what happens to these souls? The souls enter this, this place in Barzakh. The concept of Wadi ul-Salam and Wadi ul-Barhut comes here, yes? Wadi ul-Salam and Wadi ul-Barhut. There are many narrations about this. The valley of tranquility and the valley of wretchedness or punishment, yes? The souls of the evil gather and hover around a valley that is called Wadi al-Barhut, yes? And this is a barren-like desert in Yemen. It's called Wadi al-Barhut, yeah? But the souls of the righteous and faithful, they gather frequently in a place called Wadi al-Salam, yeah? They gather in Wadi Salam, which is close to a place in Najaf. Yeah. Now let me make one thing clear for you. It's very interesting. Yeah, when I went for ziyarat and I was giving lectures in one of the groups in ziyarat, and we went to Wadi Salam, and people would go to the grave and they would mark an X on the ground in Wadi Salam and say, by marking an X here, it means I'm going to, wherever I die, my soul is going to come here. It doesn't work like that. It's not that easy, right? Whether you go to Wadi al-Barhut or Wadi al-Salam is dependent on your level of Iman and Taqwa. Yeah, it is not a physical place, right, where the souls come. It is a place where they come, but they are not in a physical form, of course. They are non-material. Yes, the souls are non-material. Yeah. A person came to our sixth holy Imam, again, Imam Jafaria Sadiq, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi. And said, I have a brother. This companion came to him and said, I have a brother, and he's in Baghdad, and I think he's going to be dying, but I cannot visit him. And I'm really upset that I'm not able to visit my brother. And the sixth Imam said to this companion, says, do not worry. Because if your brother is a true believer and he's a follower of the Ahlul Bayt, then his soul will come to Wadi Salam. And he says, when his soul will come to Wadi Salam, this is the sixth Imam. He says, when the soul will come to Wadi Salam, it will be in a state of bliss. It will be in a state of enlightenment. And this person said, where is this Wadi Salam, Yabna Rasulullah? And the sixth Imam says, this Wadi Salam is in a place outside Kufa, which is right now where it is in Najaf, right? It says it's in a place outside Kufa. And the sixth Imam says, he says, I can see the souls in Wadi Salam. As I can see the souls in Wadi Salam. As they sit, halakun, halakun. This is the term that the sixth Imam uses. Halakun, halakun. They are sitting in circles and circles, gathering together and having discussions with each other. Halakun, halakun. Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib, salawatullahi wa salamu alayhi, he once went to Wadi Salam, and with him was his companion Asbah bin Nubata and also Qambar. They were both with the Imam. Yes. And when they came to Wadi Salam, Imam alayhi salam, he slept on the ground. He slept on the ground in Wadi Salam. And Qambar came to him with a cloak, right? We came to him with a cloak, and he said to him, he said to his master, he says, my master, you are on the ground. I've come with a cloak so that you can be comfortable. And the Imam says to Qambar, he says, do you not know that where I am lying is either the grave of a believer, or it is a gathering and a majlis of the souls of the faithful? So Qambar says to Amir al-Mu'minin, says, okay, I get it. I understand grave of a believer, but what do you mean souls of the faithful? And Amir al-Mu'minin says to Qambar, he says that, do you not see? We are gathered in a place where the spirits and the ruh of the arwah of the faithful men and women, they are in the form of light, sitting on thrones of light. Halakun, halakun. Yeah. There's another tradition of another companion of Imam Ali alayhi salam by the name of Habba. And Habba, he went to Imam Wadi Salam. And Imam alayhi salam, he stood in Wadi Salam and he started giving a sermon. And Habba says that Imam was giving this sermon, and it was a long sermon. And he was giving a sermon and talking, and he said there was nobody there. So Habba said that I didn't know what to do. So he said, I finally went to the Imam, and he said, because I was getting tired. Poor Habba, he was getting tired, right? So he went to Imam and he said to Imam, Are you not tired? Do you not think you should rest? And Amir al-Mu'mineen looked at Habba and he says to Habba, he says, Habba, do you not know that I am having a conversation right now? I'm having a conversation with the mu'mineen. Who are these mu'mineen? He says, I wish that the veil would have been lifted from your eyes, for you would have seen the souls of the faithful who are sitting in circles. Halakun, halak. Now, you know, there is a very beautiful hadith of the first Holy Imam. And listen to this hadith very carefully, because it is a very important hadith of the Imam. The first Imam says, Amir al-Mu'mineen, he says that when a person, you know, this is an important hadith around the connection with our parents, yeah? When they're alive and when they pass away, right? If your parents are alive, then may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them health and a long life, inshallah. And if they have passed away, then may Allah encompass them in His maghfirat and His rahmah, inshallah. But you know, this hadith of the first Imam, he says that when a person's parents are alive, and if that person, when they were alive, he was a good child. He was a good, he was a good child, you know, to his parents, right, when they were alive. He did everything for their parents. He served them well. But when that parent died, when the person's parent died, this person did not pray for his or her maghfirat. He did not pray for his parents' maghfirat. And there, if he did not pray for his parents' maghfirat and rahmah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment will include that person amongst those who were bad with their parents. Even if you were good to them in this world, but after they died, you forgot about them. You did not pray for their maghfirat or their rahmah. Then Amir al-Mu'mineen says that that person will be put in that group of people who were bad towards the parents. And then he says that for that person who was not that good to his parents when they were alive, there was some shortcomings on his part. He did not look after their parents when they are alive as much as he ought to have. But when they died, there was a realization that came to him. And he consistently and persistently prayed for the maghfirat and the rahmah of the parents. Then for that person, Amir al-Mu'mineen says, he will be put amongst the group of those people who were good to their parents. You see, it doesn't stop if your parents have passed away, right? And what it means is there is no question that whatever you do for your marhum, right, after their death, it benefits them and it benefits you. Yeah, it benefits them and it benefits you. Yeah. And so I say to you that if you have parents who have passed away, then have the ability to do maghfirat for your parents. And the best maghfirat you can do perhaps is to recite the salat of maghfirah of your parents. Yeah, it's a very easy salat to recite. Yeah, salatul maghfirah of your parents. Yeah, and if you don't know how to recite it, you can ask me and I'll let you know about it. It's available. Yeah, it's very easy to recite between Maghrib and Isha. It'll take you 2 minutes to recite. Salatul Maghfirah for the parents. Yeah, the hadith is that, you know, you see in the narrations that when you pray and perform a good deed for your family, the gifts of those good deeds reaches the souls of the people in Barzakh, of your family. And the hadith says that as those souls are sitting in that circle, yes, halakun, halakun, yes, as the souls are sitting in the circle, and you do something good for them, you recite a maghfirah salat for them, you do give charity on their behalf in their name, then what happens as they are sitting, the news comes to them that somebody has done this. Yes, and when that news comes to them, they get pleased. And the other people who are sitting there and nothing comes to them, they get embarrassed and they get upset. Mere wale ne to kuch nahi kiya. And we are so engrossed in this dunya that sometimes what happens is we just forget. We forget about the people and the family and the relatives who have gone ahead and they are in barzakh. We forget about them, right? So this is what we have to understand. It is important to understand the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He says that there are three things that will help a person and benefit a person or a soul in barzakh. The first is sadaqah jariyah, yes? You perform a good deed which is perpetually beneficial to the community and the believers, yeah? That good deed will continue to be beneficial to you in barzakh as long as it continues to be beneficial to believers and even non-believers in this world. The second, he says, is knowledge. Knowledge that others benefited from you, right? The knowledge that you had and you were able to partake and give that knowledge to somebody else. That knowledge becomes a source of blessings for you in the barzakh. And the third thing is a pious child who performs good deeds for his parents as they reside in barzakh. Yes, the Holy Prophet Isa, the Holy Prophet Isa, he was passing by a graveyard once, and he came to a person and he saw that one of the graves, he saw that in that grave, that person was enveloped in punishment, was engrossed in punishment. And Prophet Isa quickly walked past that grave because that person was enveloped in punishment. And the hadith says that after a few months, the Holy Prophet Isa, he came back to the same place and the same grave. And when he now came to that place and that grave, he now was able to understand that this very same person was enjoying the bliss and the good pleasures of the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now the Holy Prophet Isa, he says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what's going on here? He said, I was here, this same guy, a few months ago, he was being punished. He was engrossed in punishment. He said, I come back a few months later and now all I see is he's enjoying the good pleasures and the glimpses of paradise. What happened? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Isa, oh Isa, the reason for this is that this person had a pious son. A son who used to do two things. A son who used to help people when the people were in need. And the second thing that he did was that he used to remove barriers and obstacles towards the path of some people who were walking and they had barriers and obstacles, and he was able to remove those obstacles. Because of these two things that the son performed, I have changed his punishment so that now he experiences glimpses of paradise. Yeah. This is what happens. There is a beautiful narration, in which Prophet Musa, Moses, he says to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Look at the question that the Holy Prophet, I love Prophet Musa, because, Prophet Musa is kind of a cool prophet. He was so much in love with Allah, that Allah was always talking to him. Yeah, he was so much in love with Allah. So Prophet Musa, he once asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he says to Allah, he says, if you were a human being, he says to Allah, if you were a human being, what act of worship would you have done? What a question, man. Asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if you were a human being, what act of worship would you have performed? Maybe Allah would have said salat, maybe roza, hajj, maybe, right? But look at the answer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to Musa, oh Musa, if I was a human being, then the act of worship that I would have performed would be the act where I would have served the creations. I would have served the creations. That's the act of worship I would have performed. I gotta tell you, man, 80% of our religion is all about your morality and your ethics. 80%. Yes, salat, fasting, all of that has its own status and its own importance. But if you want to understand the deen is about humanity. That's what the deen is. The message of Hussein is the message of humanity. It's the message of humanity. And we will talk about him, in the next few days. We will talk about this great personality and how he transforms humanity. You see this man in Karbala. You see this man in Karbala, and there is a point where he is trembling and he's crying about Abdullah Hussein. On the day of Ashura, he is trembling and he's crying. And somebody comes to him and he says, why, O Aba Abdullah, are you crying and weeping? Is it because you are going to be martyred? Is it because you are going to be shaheed? Is it because you are going to be slaughtered? And Aba Abdullah Hussein says what? He says, no, I am crying for my ummah. He says, I am crying looking at the soldiers in the side of Umar ibn Sa'ad. And I see that because of their actions and their act, that they are going to go and be punished in hell. And this is what saddens me the most. That they will be punished because of their acts. And how are they going to be punished when they have such an easy way out? If only they were to understand the status of Aba Abdullah Hussein. Ya rahmatul lil wasi'ah. Yes, in ziyarat of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, you mentioned this. Yes, Imam Hussein is rahmatul lil wasi'ah, the all-encompassing mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Ya rahmatul lil wasi'ah. So my friends, the important message that we need to take after death and before we reach the hereafter is that there is this realm of barzakh, and it is important that we prepare for this realm. The life in this realm will be a manifestation of what you have done in this world as far as your iman and your deeds are concerned. And don't let anybody dazzle you with the punishments of barzakh. Because for the believers of the Ahlul Bayt and for those who believe in the wilayah of Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam, barzakh will be a moment to experience the glimpses of paradise. And one of those ways that you can have a life worthy of living in Barzakh is to do the Aza of Aba Abdullah al-Hussein. These are the days of Ashra Zainabiyya, the days where we mourn the Aza of Aba Abdullah. We mourn the events after Karbala, for the daughters of the Holy Prophet are shackled in these days. When the caravan comes to Kufa from Karbala and it comes to the palace of Ibn Ziyad, the heads of the Shuhada are presented in front of Ibn Ziyad. And when the heads of the Shuhada are presented in front of Ibn Ziyad takes a stick. And he takes the stick and he starts to disrespect the head of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. As he disrespects the head of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, imagine the heart of Imam Sajjad. What the heart of Imam Sajjad would have gone through as the head of Abu Abdullah is being disrespected by Ibn Ziyad. Ibn Ziyad looks at Imam Sajjad and he says to his people, who is this? Imam Sajjad, with his hand cuffed, with his chains across his whole body, he comes forward and he says to Ibn Ziyad, oh Ibn Ziyad, I am Ali ibn al-Hussein. When he says, I am Ali ibn al-Hussein, Ibn Ziyad says that I thought Ali ibn al-Hussein was killed in Karbala. And Imam Sajjad says, that was my brother Ali ibn al-Hussein. I am the other son of Abu Abdullah. I am the other son of Abu Abdullah. When Ibn Ziyad hears this, he says to his folks, he says to his army, he says, I want you to go and behead this man right now. As Ibn Ziyad gives the order to kill Imam Sajjad, on hearing this, Janab Zainab comes forward. Janab Zainab comes forward. She puts herself in between Imam Sajjad and the soldiers. And she says to Ibn Ziyad, oh Ibn Ziyad, for you to kill my son Sajjad, you will have to first kill me. There is not one person in this darbar who is able to even lay a finger on my son Sajjad. Azadaran Hussein, आपने सुना होगा इमाम सज्जाद की हदीस। इमाम सज्जाद की हदीस मदीने में जब किसी ने इमाम से पूछा कि सबसे ज्यादा मुश्किल आपको कहाँ हुई, तो इमाम सज्जाद ने 3 मर्तबा कहा, अश्शाम अश्शाम अश्शाम। अज़ादारों, इमाम सज्जाद को 1 मर्तबा कहना चाहिए था अश्शाम। इमाम सज्जाद ने 3 मर्तबा अश्शाम 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 क्यों कहा? उलमाए अखलाक ने इस हदीस की तफसीर में लिखा है कि पहली दफा अश्शाम से मुराद वो बाजार शाम है। हाय वो बाजार, इमाम सज्जाद कहते थे ये वो बाजार है जहां इन लईनों ने मेरे गर्दन में रस्सी को बांधा था और बाजार में मुझे ऐसे ले जाया गया जैसे किसी जानवर को ज़बह करने के लिए ले जाते हैं। इमाम सज्जाद कहते हैं उस तरह से मुझे ले जाया गया। आग के गोले इमाम के सर पे लोग फेंक रहे थे, उबलता हुआ पानी बीवियों के सर पर बरसता था। आज़ादारों, पहली दफा शाम से मुराद बाजार शाम है, दूसरी दफा शाम से मुराद वो दरबार यजीद है। हाय वो दरबार, इमाम कहते थे कि ये वो दरबार था जहां नबी ज़ादियां बेमखना चादर बेपर्दा औरतें वहां खड़ी हुई थी। यजीद शराब یزید امام حسین کے سر کی توہین کر رہا تھا، اور پھر جب یزید کی نظر عورتوں پہ پڑی، یزید پوچھتا تھا کہ یہ کون ہے، یہ کون ہے؟ کوئی کہتا تھا ہاذہ زینب وہاذہ ام کلثوم وہاذہ رباب وہاذہ سکینہ۔ امام سجاد کہتے ہیں کہ جب بیویوں کے نام دربار یزید میں بتائے گئے، جب بیویوں کے نام دربار یزید میں بتائے گئے، امام سجاد زار رونے لگے۔ ازاداروں، تیسری دفعہ شام سے مراد وہ زندان شام ہے۔ ہائے وہ زندان، ایسا زندان، وہ قید خانہ جس قید خانے میں چھت نہیں تھی، جس قید خانے میں چھت نہیں تھی، دن کی دھوپ میں بچے تڑپتے تھے، رات کی سردی میں بچے تڑپتے تھے۔ یہ وہ قید خانہ ہے جہاں حسین کی 4 سال کی بچی جب اس کے سامنے اپنے بابا کا سر آیا ہے، سکینہ نے اپنی آغوش میں حسین کا سر لیا، ایک مرتبہ زار زار رونے لگی۔ امام سجاد جب آگے بڑھتے ہیں، یہ وہی قید خانہ ہے۔ تھوڑی دیر کے بعد دیکھا کہ اب سکینہ کچھ نہیں کہہ رہی، سوچا شاید بچے کو نیند آ گئی ہو، لیکن جب امام قریب گئے، ایک مرتبہ ایک آہ نکلی، انا للہ و انا الیہ راجعون کی صدا بلند ہوئی۔ عزاداروں، یہ وہ قید خانہ ہے جہاں اتنا کھانا اتنا کم ملتا تھا کہ مورخ لکھتے ہیں کہ جناب زینب کے پاس اتنا کھانا کم آتا تھا کہ ایک مرتبہ امام سجاد نے دیکھا کہ پھوپھی اماں بیٹھ کے نماز پڑھ رہی ہے۔ امام سجاد جناب زینب کے پاس آتے ہیں، کہتے ہیں پھوپھی اماں، آپ کو کبھی بیٹھ کے نماز پڑھتے ہوئے نہیں دیکھا۔ جناب زینب نے فرمایا بیٹا سجاد، یہ لعینوں سے کھانا اتنا کم آتا ہے کہ میرے حصے کا جو کھانا ہوتا ہے میں بچوں میں تقسیم کر دیتی ہوں۔ اب زینب اتنی کمزور ہو گئی ہے کہ زینب قید خانے میں زینب بیٹھ کے نماز We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the wasila of Janab Zainab and Imam Sajjad, we ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that accept our small azah in the bargah of Imam Sajjad and Imam Bibi Zainab. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are confident that as we recite the majalis, Sayyidah Fatima sits here with us. She mourns also her son. She mourns the atrocities and the calamities of the Ahlul Bayt. Through the wasila of Fatima al-Zahra, we ask you, Allah, that whomsoever has attended this majlis, O Allah, accept all of their hajats and all of their desires. Allah, envelop the marhubeen of the people who are sitting here with your mercy, your maghfirat and your rahmah. Oh Allah, give us the ability that we are able to follow the teachings of Abu Abdullah Hussein. Oh Allah, give us the ability that we are able to emulate the actions of Abu Abdullah Hussein. And Allah, give us the ability and give us the tawfiq to be able to visit Abu Abdullah al-Hussein in Karbala. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for those in our community who may be sick, who may be ill, who may be going through medical procedures, who may be in hospital because of their illness, We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the wasila of Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, O Allah, give them a full, fast and quick recovery, inshallah. These are the nights where your blessings pour down on this night. Your blessings pour down because of the musibah of the Ahlul Bayt. And as we do the azah, your blessings are just showering upon us. Take those blessings, O Allah, and relieve the difficulties of the mu'mineen who have gathered in this majalis, inshallah wa ta'ala. And O Allah, hasten the reappearance of our 12th Holy Imam, Imam al-Zamana, Ajalallah ta'ala farajahu al-Sharif, Matam Hussein, Ya Hussein.
جب رضا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب رضا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی آل عمران کہا اور زندان کہا لے بہن قید ہوئی تو نہ آیا غازی جب رضا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب رضا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب رضا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی غازی آ گئی شام میں علم لٹ گئے اہل حرم ریت پر جلتی ہوئی ہو گیا ٹھنڈا علم پرسہ دینے کے لیے مجھ سے ملنے کے لیے آ گئے بابا علی تو نہ آیا غازی جب رضا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب رضا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی دھوپ میں تو تھا شجر تجھ سے آباد تھا گھر ہے برہنا میرا سر کیا نہیں تجھ کو قبر اے علمدار وفا اس بہن کو باخدا تجھ سے دھارس تھی بڑی تو نہ آیا غازی جب رضا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب رضا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی کیا کہوں شیر میرے بیردہ ہم کو لیے یہ مسلمان سارے شہر در شہر گئے خلقت کوفہ کبھی خلقت شام کبھی اور ہاں ہم پہ ہنسی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی کتنی بے بس تھی بہن اے شہنشاہ وفا نام لے لے کے میرا نام لے لے کے میرا جب یہ ظالم نے کہا ناز تھا جس پہ تجھے اب بلاؤ نہ اسے اور میں روتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی جب چلی شہر پہ چھری اے میرے شیر جری ہاتھ ملتی تھی بہن کچھ قدم دور کھڑی کٹ گیا شہر کا گلا پائے بھائی نے صدا مجھ کو ہر ضرب دی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی غازی قید خانے میں قضا جب سکینہ کو ملی دیکھے کرتے کا کفن بچی دفنائی گئی اس گھڑی نام تیرا صورت ناد علی بس میں دہراتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی جب ردا سر سے چھنی میں صدا دیتی رہی تو نہ آیا غازی یا حسین
یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین وہ عابد بیمار تھا وہ عابد بیمار تھا چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا چلنے سے جو لاچار تھا اور شام کا بازار تھا اور شام کا بازار تھا اور مصطفیٰ کی بیٹیاں مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی شبیر کی وہ لاڈلی سینے پہ جو شاہ کے پالی سینے پہ جو شاہ کے پالی جس کی اماں میں جلی جس کی اماں میں جلی منہ پر تماچوں کے نشان مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین ہائے پیاسے گلے خنجر چلے پیاسے گلے خنجر چلے چادر چینی خیمے جلے چادر چینی خیمے جلے عباس کے پرچم تلے عباس کے پرچم تلے رو کر کہے یہ بیٹیا مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین رو کر کہے قاسم کی ماں رو کر کہے قاسم کی ماں مارا گیا قاسم جوان مارا گیا قاسم جوان اے لال میں ڈھونڈوں کہاں اے لال میں ڈھونڈوں کہاں میں بھی تیرا جہاں مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین وہ اصغر بشیر تھا وہ اصغر بشیر تھا اور حرملہ کا تیر تھا اور حرملہ کا تیر تھا پیاسا گلا چن کر کٹا پیاسا گلا چن کر کٹا لرزی زمین و آسمان مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین شام غریب چھا گئی شام غریب پاشا گئی عابد کو غیرت آ گئی عابد کو غیرت آ گئی پہرے پہ زینب آ گئی پہرے پہ زینب آ گئی عباس اور اکبر کہاں مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین مولا حق امام یا حسن یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین یا حسین